You're listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers.
Presented by CMH Heli Skiing and Peak Performance.
The Low Pressure Podcast is sponsored by CMH Heli Skiing, where you can choose from 11 unique locations and experiences, including 4, 5, 6, and 7-day signature trips, the brand new single-day trips. You can do small groups with just you, 4 friends, and a guide, or the private and exclusive, where you get the whole place just to yourself. So find your next adventure at cmhheli.com. The Low Pressure Podcast is also sponsored by Peak Performance. There are many ways to make it down a mountain, but the best line is your line. And the adventure is there, so make it yours. Visit peakperformance.com and get the gear to unlock your freeride spirit. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Welcome to Whistler.
Good to be here.
All right, so let's get people up to speed here. It is like 7:55 at 7 o'clock tonight. You introduced the MSP movie here in Whistler, and I was setting up the snowboard sessions for IF3 at a different venue, also at 7 o'clock. And I was like, just text me when you're done. I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna come here, smash one out, and then you're gonna get back to the theater for the second screening of the MSP film by 9:30, probably 9:15, so you can sign some posters. And I'm gonna be back at the other venue and get that started for their second screening. Then we're gonna chill and do our thing, and then we're gonna go party.
True. I don't know if chill's in our vocabulary, though. I don't know if that's appropriate for this.
Air quotes, chill. Yeah. I'm gonna chill. I'm probably.
We're chilling now.
Yes, but. I'll probably watch the snowboard flicks. You should come. You can, if you want to bring a crew up, we'll get you guys in. There'll be some spots, and it's an awesome room, man.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
It's in the Squamish Lillooet Cultural Center.
Oh, cool.
Squamish Lillooet are like the local First Nations here.
Yeah,
and they built this like beautiful cultural center, like museum.
Sweet.
And so like you walk through this great hall, and there's like dugout canoes and like the textiles that they create, and then the clothing and like totems, all sorts of really things. So you just walk through and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And then they actually have cables that come down and connect to all that stuff, and they just raise them up into the ceiling, and then it turns into like an event space.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so we set up the screen at the end, and we've got like a bunch of chairs in there, a sound system, and it's a bar. It's sweet.
Multifunctional.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Sweet.
One of the organizers was like, man, I just feel like calm here. I feel at peace. Like, this is really nice. I'm like, yeah, sweet.
That's killer.
Yeah, so it's good. And we did it at Millennium Place last night, or More Young, where you are now.
Okay, nice.
Have you been up here for, you said you had family here, right? But have you been up here for like any other things like this?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, my cousins are mountain bikers, so I've been up here for like Crankworks before.
Oh, yeah?
And I've been here for like ski events and whatnot, but yeah, I haven't been here this time of year. I haven't been to IF3 before, so
yeah, we're
cool
stoked. We're stoked that you're here, man. We've been trying to build it up the last couple of years and get it kind of going again, get people here, and
yeah,
there's a big crew out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's stacked. It's super fun. That's like part of what makes the whole fall premiere season as good of a time as it is like meeting new people and yeah, just getting to see.
Is this your first premiere season?
Yeah, it is.
So you're just being like, wow, this is wild.
Yeah. Kind of deer in the headlights. It's been like a ton all at once.
So tell me about it. So you're in MSP this year. You're also in the HEAD film, which we showed the other night, which I've seen. Like, dude. Well, I saw you ski in person last year, and I was like, God damn.
Thanks, man.
Like, very, very impressed. But yeah, so like this is your first premiere season.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about it. What was your first one?
First one was in Crested Butte.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. There were 8 of us, like athletes on tour there. And it was super fun. Like the early show was just a bunch of kids. And that was like way more my speed. It's super fun.
Signing posters.
Yeah.
Was that your first poster signing?
I did like Sugar Bowl, my home resort was super nice and like held a fundraiser for me last year before I went on the world tour.
Right.
So I like signed a few posters, but they're like homemade posters sort of deal. But so yeah, like I had signed them before, but this was like the first time.
It's like you know when you go to a ball game and someone's got like Xander Guldman, 19 or whatever, like I love you or something like that. Give me a puck. Is that kind of like kids bringing in their homemade Xander Guldman poster?
Not quite that level yet, but I had some kid come up and like reference my 2016 season edit, which was pretty funny.
Oh really? Is it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Can you find it?
Yeah, totally.
Are there any Screamin Seamen in it?
I had some the year before that. I don't know if I had any in that edit.
Right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. But yeah, so your first event, and you're like, all right, sweet, like MSP, right on. I'm on it. Let's go do this signing. Who was at that event? Was it kind of like surreal for you? Like, is it a moment where you're like,
oh my God. Yeah. I like felt like I walked in through the wrong door or something. Like I like felt like I was sitting on the wrong side of the table. And like, I was like, I don't know, I was too kind of shy to ask for like the other athletes to sign a poster for me. I got brave enough. By the time we got to Denver, I got them to sign a poster for me. But like, yeah, I was like, you know, dealing with some imposter syndrome for sure. And it was all like a brand new experience. Everybody who I was with is like, yeah, done it before. They've got like a level of comfort around it.
Yeah, but... so the other night we had the TGR premiere in town, and McNutt and Macintosh were there. And, you know, they roll in, they've got their little case with their posters in them. Like, it's like, I've done this 100 times. They roll in, they sit down, like, hey, what's up, kids? Blah, super engaging. But it's like, you know, when you're really good at something, there's like no wasted energy, no wasted effort. You know, like say you make grilled cheese 100 times.
Yeah.
You know, it's like pan on 6, bread, butter, the cheese, exactly how you want it. You timed it, everything perfectly. Boom, on the plate. Little ketchup. Yes, ketchup with the grilled cheese. And you know it, like, just no wasted movements. And that was kind of like funny watching those guys, because they just roll up, sit down, boom. Hey, what's happening? And you're like, you've done this before. And then there was a couple other guys. I won't tell you who they were. But like some rookies, you could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't have any posters, man. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, ask McNutt and see if he'll let you sign his.
Well, that's something I was thinking about, though, is like when you've done it so many times, it's kind of on autopilot. And for me, it's kind of fun. Like, I feel like I'm like forced to be thoughtful about like what I write on the poster, why I'm writing it, if I'm choosing to like have a conversation.
It's not like they're super engaged with the kids and stuff, but like just watching them walk in, you know, it's like pens in this pocket. They got their posters there. Boom, boom, boom. Like everything. All right, let's go. I'm ready to roll. Right?
Yeah. No, it's cool. They're some real pros for sure.
Yeah, like tonight you were there with Abma. Abma 100% knows he's done it for 20 years. You know what I mean? McKenna, I'm sure too.
No, everybody.
Who else was there tonight?
Oh my God, there were so many people. Let's see if I can get all of it. It was McKenna, myself, Emily, Abma. We had Logan and Marcus, and Sammy was there. Colby was there. Oh man, I'm probably
Sammy. Yeah, we got Sammy and Colby to come out and McKenna to come out for IF3 this year, which is sweet.
Yeah,
it's one of the things. So I tell people this, and I don't know if I've actually said it on the show, but like when I started organizing IF3 here in Whistler, so it was over COVID. We ended up doing it online, and then the year after, there's the IF3 is traditionally Montreal based, right? So in 2021, I don't think they had opened up any of the COVID restrictions for that, but it was like 50-50 here. So I was like, oh, I could probably put it in one of the ballrooms in town that's like 500 capacity and like at least get people in. Plus there's, you know, a lot of crews live here, snowboard and ski. So I'm like, we'll do it. We'll do it in Whistler. I'm like, I got this. I'll organize it. But part of me, it's selfish. I don't know if I haven't said this on the show, but I wanted to spend months organizing a festival. So people will come to me and I don't have to, I can get episodes. I can get some episodes done. So I'll work for like 5 months planning a film festival just so I can record like 3 1-hour podcasts.
It's efficient.
Yeah. So I'm super pumped that you're here right now.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. It's a treat.
Yeah, I was talking to a few others. I'm like, all right, I know Elise Saugstad's up here for the week. You got her for weekend, just in and out. She's showing her film tomorrow. All you guys, like, yeah, it's fun. I'm stoked because it's awards tomorrow. A lot of the TGR crew is here. Like I was telling you, we have MSP film, which is kind of blended in with IF3 as well.
Yeah.
And then we got the blank premiere tomorrow as well. So we've got like 3 huge projects with athletes. So it's just like, I was talking to Jeff Schmuck's like, we're throwing a party for our friends. It's awesome.
It's killer.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Well, it's fun too. I'm like totally starstruck being out here. It's really fun. I'm like still feeling like I'm on that side of
things. Yeah, it's funny because you're their peer now, right?
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Your name's right up there on the poster. It may be a little farther down.
Yeah.
But you're on there, and this is like kind of your start, right? So, and I'm sure you would tell me if it was different, but like you're accepted. You don't feel like you're not. Totally. You feel like you're the new guy, but they're not making you feel like that.
No, that's something I wanted to say too. Like at the very first show, like I showed up late after everybody. I had like just gotten off a river trip, and I like drove solo from Denver to get to the show, and like immediately like I sat down, like hugs from everybody, and like within the first just couple minutes of being there, I felt totally accepted and welcomed by the team. And like, I felt really happy and comfortable to be there. Like
part of the crew, man.
Yeah, totally. It was sweet. Like Kate, especially. Kate Zellup was just
I asked her. I was like,
welcoming.
"Are you coming?" She's like, "Well, I don't think so." I'm like, "Come on."
She went hard in Colorado though. She did her thing.
Did she?
Yeah. On all fronts.
Oh yeah, you want to tell some stories? She's not here.
No. She connects so well with the kids. It's awesome watching her. Like, I don't know. That for me is like one of the highlights.
What are some of the, like, watching these guys, like, what did you learn or what did you see that you didn't expect from like this kind of whole tour from the veterans and things? Like you seeing Adman conduct himself and doing his, he just walks in, he's like, "Hey buddy, what's going on?" Blah blah blah. Just sets in his he knows what to do.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you like picked up on? You're like, "Oh, I like that," or I'm gonna learn from that.
I mean, I think you kind of just said it there, but just having the ability to like code switch and just like turn it on when you need to, because it's kind of a funny thing where we have our whole day available to us pretty much, and then there's like an hour where you're like hanging out, meeting people, signing posters, and if you can just be like super on and bubbly and just like connect with people really well during that period of time, like it's hard, but you do have to just be able to switch, like turn that on and make that happen.
I don't, for me, I wouldn't expect it to be that hard for you because you're such a personable person. Like you're not shy, I don't think. Like you,
sometimes,
like you just seem like you're like, just from meeting you and knowing you on the tour last year, like you're just easy to get along with, easy to chat with. I wouldn't think it would be hard for you to be like animated, and because you're just a happy guy.
Thanks, man.
Like you're like a ray of sunshine. It's like I was telling someone that the other day.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome.
It's been fun though. Like the people that I'm around make it easy.
Sweet. So what was your favorite so far? You went through where?
The Colorado circuit was crazy. We went Crested Butte, Boulder, Denver, Golden, Aspen, Breck. I think that was it.
That's a big mission.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was like a new place each day. So we were kind of just all over the place. And then had a couple days at home, did Vancouver last night, Whistler now, then hitting Portland in a few days, and then home show at Palisades to wrap things up for me. So
that's sweet.
Is
anybody paying you to do all this travel?
Yeah, HEAD's been really supportive of me this past year, which has been crazy.
Very
like
nice. Maybe should buy Heimer a bottle of wine.
I think that might be in order.
Yeah. Janer will be stoked on that too.
Totally. Yeah, they've been taking great care of me.
That's sweet, man. I'm super pumped for you. So let's talk about you more. And you're like, I know a little bit about your history, and I always like to like not talk to you and ask people about stuff like that, so I can usually figure it out on here. So you grew up in like Steamboat area, or just
no, in Tahoe. I grew up in Truckee.
Oh, Truckee.
Yeah.
Who put on this? The you just told me who put on the fundraiser for you?
Oh, Sugar Bowl.
Sugar
Bowl is my home resort.
Pardon me.
Yeah, no stress.
Sugar Bowl. So, and that's South Tahoe?
It's North Tahoe. So we're up on Donner Summit. So it's like a small, like independently owned resort up on the summit. So yeah, it's like smaller scene than Palisades. So grew up in Truckee.
Most things are.
Yeah, just about anything is. But yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to like grow up skiing there and still call it my home mountain now.
Yeah. Born and raised?
I was born in the Bay and then moved up to Truckee when I was like 4, basically. We went to actually like a small farm town just north of Truckee first. And then it was like a 1-room schoolhouse, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. And then, so I got to do 1 year there and then they shut it down. So then we moved to Truckee after that. So not born in Truckee, but raised there.
Oh yeah, right on. I remember the first time, and people are gonna be like, "You're a weirdo." The first time I ever heard someone talk about Truckee, I didn't really understand what was happening, like what he was talking about. I didn't realize that could have been the name of a place.
Yeah, it's deceiving, eh?
Right? Yeah, I was in New Zealand, and I was working at Temple Base, in a little mountain up top, and JT Holmes was there, Brad Holmes came, and John McMurray, rest in peace. We're there on like a trip for like a Brad Holmes like project for him. And they had a filmer and he's like, "Yeah, Truckee this and Truckee this." I'm like, he keeps saying Truckee, and I didn't know what it was back then. So I'm like, what is a Truckee? like he kept referring to it, and I was so confused. And I was like, is it like a native like name, or is it like a...
Yeah, basically, so the Washoe people are the original occupants of the area. And I hope I don't butcher this right now. I'm pretty sure that Truckee was just a greeting that they would use. Okay. So like when Western, like people during the Gold Rush were moving out west, it's Donner Summit. It's called Donner Summit because the Donner Party got stranded there. And, stuff happened. But so basically, like the first word that settlers heard was Truckee.
Yeah.
And they thought that was like the name of the chief, so they named the town after the chief. But Truckee was just how you say hello.
That's awesome. Now I know. It's full circle. Thanks, man.
Yeah, totally. But it does like kind of, I don't know, it feels like it alludes to a truck stop or something, which it so isn't. Like I think that there are places, ski towns that do border on truck stops, and I don't know, Truckee's on Highway 80, but it doesn't.
Or like an actual truck stop.
Yeah, totally. No, like, Truckee's legit.
A little bit too on the nose.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that.
All right, well, thanks for, I was like, I don't know if I ever realized, and I was like, I always thought it was a weird name after I found it, because it was like one of those things I never looked at, because back then there was no Google.
Yeah.
There wasn't really any Google. That was like 20 something years ago that I was there. But interesting.
Yeah.
All right, that's really cool. All right, so you grew up in Truckee.
Yep.
Skiing at Sugar
Bowl.
This is Sugar Bush too, right?
That's East Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl, loud and proud.
I've been to Tahoe region once.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a bit of time like skiing the Palisades and then down at like Kirkwood and Sierra at Tahoe.
Totally.
But I haven't really spent enough time down there to really be super familiar with everything. When you travel somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm going to go to this zone and we're going to go skiing, right? But someone's like, well, how are you going to get here? How are you going to do that? And you just assume you can do things when you're planning it.
Yeah.
And then you get there, you're like, oh, that's not how it works. But then when you're there, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's half hour from this place, and this place is half hour. And you really understand by being there. But I haven't covered all of it. And I'm hoping maybe to get down there again this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think part of it there is like North Tahoe and South Tahoe are totally different places.
Yeah, explain that. They are so different.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that like South Tahoe is like split down the middle between California and Nevada, which have a lot of differences, cultural, tax, gambling, all kinds of things.
If someone were to ask you kind of explain kind of the two separate vibes of North and South, how would you explain the two different vibes?
Oh man, see, this is where I don't want to get myself in trouble.
You won't, because it's your disclaimer. It is your personal opinion.
Oh man,
right?
True.
And if anybody has a problem with that, well, who cares?
I mean, I think like it kind of just boils down to like, I think
the skiers. Okay, let's focus it on the snow people.
Okay, there we go.
Right?
We got to narrow it down.
Yeah.
I could go for too long.
Instead of going too broad with like the two like towns or two zones where people live, like separate the two styles of like the vibes of like the skier culture in each of those spots.
Yeah. I think that like your average skier in North Tahoe is like a little bit more showboaty and definitely ski. I mean, dude, like Palisades, like,
I can't believe you're a pro, dude. I'm so much better than you.
It was a matter of time. That was coming. But yeah, it's like a little bit more showboaty, a little bit more about the spectacle, and people ski super, super hard. Right. And I would say there's like the average skier is, in my opinion, probably a little bit gnarlier. And I would say South Tahoe, South Tahoe is a little bit more casual, but then you also get your people, your Molly Armaninos, your Josh Dyax, like the people who go hard in South Tahoe are on another
Hazel
level.
Birnbaums and the Maggie Bowmans and
totally, they're like cut from a different cloth. So like,
Maddie Bowman.
Yeah, worthy.
Excuse me, Maggie voice in is here. It's weird. I was chatting with her, Maddie Bowman.
Yeah,
and then obviously
a legend.
Kyle Smain, obviously, rest in peace to that legend as well.
Totally. No, I definitely looked up to both of them a lot growing up. It's sick.
So like a little more chill vibe in the South.
Yeah, more chill vibe, and I also think
not as much of a scene, not much of a rush.
Well, I think what it boils down to is like, both places are tourist destinations, but I think you get more casual tourists going to South Tahoe, where it's like they can go kind of ski for half day and then hit casinos in the afternoon. Whereas if you're going to North Tahoe, you're like battling traffic and you're kind of locked into like, you get a lot of tourists putting in full days at Palisades. Right. And again, that's just kind of me saying stuff. I haven't spent enough time in South Tahoe to really say, but the terrain down there is super sick. The skiers go super hard. I love all of it. But then like, I think the North Tahoe generalization gets tricky too, because the Donner Summit folk, the Truckee folk, like don't really want to be lumped into the whole Tahoe conversation, because we have our own little smaller culture also. And like Sugar Bowl is super distinct from all of it. I don't know. I don't want to get in the weeds here, but
I'm digging it. I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna get some emails.
I know we're getting in trouble.
No, it's all good. All right, so you grew up in Sugar Bowl.
Boom, bingo.
Nice. And then, so did you ever do like any racing or anything like that, or any like freestyle clubs or moguls? Because I find a lot of athletes, well, a huge percent of it, they'll go through those kids programs because the kids show a little interest. Kids put them in there because they get to spend the whole day and the parents can do whatever and their kids are fine and they're having fun.
Yeah.
Parents benefit because then the kid's taken care of and they can go skiing and do whatever they want to. But did you go through that route?
Yeah, I was pretty much ski team the whole way through. Like I skied with my parents a lot growing up as well. But
Race team or like free ride?
so they set me up in the midweek program when I was like a super little kid. So they would take me up on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I would go ski with a coach and a group there. And it was like mighty mites, basically, like very casual rec skiing. And then I continued doing slightly like race oriented stuff up until I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that age, I was finally old enough to join the Freeride team up at Sugar Bowl. So I got, that's kind of what I knew I wanted to do from a pretty young age. So I just transitioned right over to that. And so I didn't really race. I would say I skied around gates for a couple of years, but that wasn't a huge part of my background. But Sugar Bowl is a cool spot where it's a small community and you get like, we had like, I want to say 6 Olympians in the last Olympic cycle from a high school of 60 people.
Wow.
So like super high performance. And a lot of the training that we did as like the Freeride Big Mountain team was like overlapping and mixed with the racers as well. So my coach, Trevor Tanhoff, would like put us in gates a couple days a week and we were still like doing drills every day and like, yeah. We were like
just being becoming well-rounded skiers, right?
For sure. And like I think I've always gravitated more toward big mountain freeride skiing, but like I always loved park and I totally saw the value and benefit of skiing gates and doing drills as well. And like I had a great community to do that with. And like that was very much my trajectory.
That's sweet. So this is kind of like your breakout year for free ride, but like last year you were pretty damn busy, man. Like, so you're on the Freeride World Tour last year.
Yep.
And you pulled off some wild stuff. Was it Andorra? The 360 or was it Specura?
The 360 Screamin was kicking horse.
What? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
right.
And then I did just like a straight air Screamin Seamen at Andorra at the first or at Spain.
Right, because I can remember like their voice and their like it was Sam Smoothie, and they were like they went back and didn't realize it until they watched the replay. Like, oh, you did Screamin Seamen.
Yeah, no, they were catching the grab. You could see the Screamin Seamen from below, but then they like caught the grab.
Yeah,
after,
so like that right there, I think you just kind of like. Maybe it may be unfair, but this is the only example in comparison I think in my head right now. When you think of like JP O'Clair, you think of like Big Mute, right?
Totally, yeah.
Right? Where I was like, well, maybe Xander can be the Screamin Seamen. Like, what do you call that grab?
Dude, Genie.
The Genie grab?
Yeah. And there are like so many people.
Do you call it Screamin Seamen Genie or just like
Genie? Just Genie. Like Vincent Gagne was such a huge like pioneer of that trick. Like X Games, I forget what year, but he was doing like Dub Bio like 16, I want to say, with the Genie in it. And yeah, dude, like that, I've always thought that grab was super sick, and it's just creative and different, and it feels really good.
And to pull it off in a Freeride World Tour car. Nice work, my man.
Thanks.
So how did you end up getting on the tour? Like, what did you went through the Challenger or the juniors or what?
Yeah, totally. So I mean, I've been competing since I was 11, and just like really loved it, enjoyed it, loved the community that I got to be a part of, and saw like some success through my junior career, and that was super fun. And then once I graduated high school, like I knew I wanted to go to college, and I was trying to figure out how to balance like my academic pursuits with like my skiing dreams. And like there's always just a little bit of a tension there. Like the people that I went to high school with were usually like recruited to, they were like racing either cross country or alpine, and they were getting recruited to go to college. And I was like, well, like I want to go to college, but like I can't get recruited through freeride skiing. So I was trying to figure out how to like balance those two things. I ended up deciding to go to UC Davis, which is on a quarter system, and Davis is about 2 hours away from Truckee.
So like you do the first semester, like till Christmas, and then you go skiing.
Yeah. So instead of semesters, it's quarters. So basically, you have 3 10-week quarters in place of 2 whatever, like 14-week semesters or whatever it is. So it allowed me to like take a lighter course load in the winter, which I did my first year, and then I took my winter quarter off entirely my second year of college. And both those years I was like pretty set on qualifying for the world tour. I knew that I had it, but I was just like overly hungry, overly ambitious. And I was busy, like trying to balance a full course load and train. And like, I don't know, it was just tough to transition from the support system that I had as a junior to try to figure it out on my own as an adult. And I blew up a lot my freshman year of college, and
like on the hill.
Yeah, totally. Oh, in comps. Yeah. Comps, I just it was not going particularly
not on
well.
The books, like on your grades.
My grades were all right. They worked. But yeah, as far as the comps go, it just wasn't as strong of a showing as I was hoping for, and I was like overly hungry, overly ambitious, and just didn't really have the ability to put in the time that I needed to
like take your time and put in a solid run, right?
Yeah.
Get a little bit greedy and do that extra thing.
Yeah. And like I ended up getting like dislocating my shoulder at Tahoe and was like debating if I was going to see the comp season through or not. And I just decided to call it and just fully recover rather than push it, because I've just heard so many stories of people doing damage to their shoulders and not recovering. So I decided to just like go back to school, finish strong, try again the next year. And then I ended up just being plagued by injuries that following season as well. So I didn't really get the results I wanted to either of those years. And then after that, I was basically like, all right, I'm in college and I want to take this seriously. So I kind of put skiing on the back burner for my last couple of years of school, and was just kind of weekend warrioring, skiing for fun, and just focused on my degree and getting out of that. And once I graduated, I kind of decided I wanted to go give it a go again, try the Challenger Series, see what I could do with it.
And now you can put all your efforts into it, right? Rather than be half 1 foot on this side and 1 foot in this side, you can just jump full on in.
But I'd say at that point I had kind of transitioned. I didn't have my sights set on the world tour at all. Like I had like let go of that idea, let go of that dream. I think like the concept of pro skiing was kind of, I don't know, I just didn't feel like I was chasing that anymore.
Right.
I kind of just wanted to like finish my comp career on a good note was basically the attitude that I went into that season with. I just wanted to
leave feeling good about yourself. And like, I did what I did. It was good times.
Well, mostly I just wanted to like reconnect with the sport that I loved and do it for the right reasons. I think that I had been doing it pretty selfishly the seasons that I like got injured and wasn't able to make it through. And
so would you think you would have called it like a last hurrah sort of thing?
Yeah, totally. That's definitely how I viewed it. Like I was figuring I'd do like 1 year after graduating, go to grad school, and like, you know, skiing's always going to be part of my life, but I just kind of figured I'd do away with that whole, you know, pro skier dream. I know. But yeah, so then I think like in that process of letting go, I was able to like just connect to like the visions that I had for my own skiing, and I was doing it for the right reasons, and I was making way more conservative choices. And like, there's one thing that I've learned from watching comps over the years is like people who ski consistently do well.
Andrew Pollard.
Exactly. He's one of the best to ever do it, without a doubt. But yeah, I was just, and also like the circuit that was set up allowed me to just go visit a bunch of friends. And I was like, I'm just doing this for fun, doing this for me, totally disconnected from the idea of like getting results at all.
Right.
And I ended up having a really great season. And again, like there wasn't a single event where I made a choice to like ski something that I thought would score well. Right. I was just like, there were several times that I skied lines that were like out of sight from everybody except for the judges. Like Tahoe specifically, like nobody in the crowd could see my line at all, but I like checked with the judges and made sure they could see the whole thing. And I was like really intentionally trying to ski for myself and having that kind of be it.
Right.
And I ended up getting like second overall that season. And
it's amazing when you just remove that expectation.
Totally.
And then just let it be.
Yeah.
How often that just works out.
For sure. And I think, I don't know, I think there are like so many levels you could read into it. But yeah, for me, I think like just reconnecting with the love that I feel for the sport and the joy that it brings me and the connection that I feel to the whole community here, like that's really what made things connect.
So then you get in second, and did that get you into the tour?
Totally. Yeah.
Right. So now you're on Freeride World Tour FWT 23. So last year.
Yeah.
And then first event in Bakira, that's where I met you, and I met your parents as well.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was talking to. I'm like, that guy's really nice. I'm like, I like him. He's a good dude, man. So then FWT comes along. Kind of give us a quick summary of your season with the FWT.
Oh man, it was a whirlwind, honestly. Like I think
that you did 3.
Yeah,
you didn't make the cut, right?
Nope, didn't make the cut. Yeah. I missed it by 1.
Right.
I like thought I might squeak through, and then didn't quite make it. But yeah, I think like just it went by in the blink of an eye. Like we showed up in Spain, and it was super fun. I was traveling with Lily and Jess, which was just like super comfy. I like grew up with Lily. She's a good homie, and then like
I grew up in the same neighborhood as Lily's mom.
Oh, no way.
It's a funny side story.
That's cool.
What's up, Lily? Anyway, like literally like the same like street corner.
Wait, that's awesome. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, but anyways, that's like a sidebar. Carry on with your story.
But yeah, we showed up in Barcelona, hung out for a bit, went up to Bakira, and the snowpack was just awful. Like there was nothing on the ground before we got there. And we all saw that there was a little bit of snow in the forecast, but it was like, I don't know, a couple centimeters, like not enough to really change
more
things.
More than we thought.
It was. And then it promptly all slid off of the venues.
Remember that too. Larry's fault. We were blaming Larry for that one. Larry, one of the judges, but he's like, he came in and did like a 4 run, but he's like one of the most you know, he's the guy you want to be up there testing things out. He's so experienced. So if you're going to cut something out, he's the guy you kind of want to be up there to like suss it out. But we were like, Larry, you ruined the face, man.
Yeah, but man, like it was great that it slid in a controlled way before the event was running. And like, you know, that was it. There were so many red flags around that aspect and the elevation and the wind loading. Like I wouldn't have skied that had I been in the backcountry skiing it for myself. Like,
Right.
And I felt that, I don't know, maybe this is a separate conversation, but I felt that about kicking horse as well. Like there were just too many red flags and it was stuff I wouldn't have skied.
Right.
All else equal. And I knew the coverage was bad too. So it was just like trying to prepare for that comp was like, you know, looking at pictures from the weeks prior, trying to know where it was rocks and where there might be snow. And then really just at that point, you're left with skiing the guts. And it's really uninspiring to try to figure out like how to piece together a line where I feel good about myself making it down safely. And I think like so much of me qualifying for the World Tour was grounded in me like prioritizing my safety and skiing things for myself. And I just it wasn't resonating for me at that event.
Right. And it's interesting you say that because I know a lot of athletes do feel that way.
Yeah.
But then also don't follow that feeling. You know what I mean? They're
Totally.
like, they will do that little extra or they will push it a little bit more. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, totally. And that's just like not a dance that I'm super comfortable with. Like,
so are you like with risk, personal risk? Like you're not a big risk taker?
no,
You're
I think
very,
like,
very calculated. I need to know all the variables I need to know as many variables as possible in the equation to feel comfortable about this. And if there aren't enough, and if even I have a little bit of hesitation, you're not going to go into something.
yeah. And I think like it's kind of that last piece more than anything. Like I have just learned to pay attention to my gut and like follow my instincts a lot. And
You're what, 25 now,
Yeah.
and you've graduated school.
yeah,
All right, so yeah, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
Totally.
Yeah,
Wrap
you
that
went
straight.
through all of that. I just wanted you got it. Yeah,
yeah, I did it.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Right, and do you think it's different than if you were younger, or have you always been that kind of the cautious, calculated approach kind of thing?
I think it's like ebbed and flowed, right? Like when I was, super young, like 11 and 12, first trying to figure out the comp scene, I had a really tough relationship with risk. Like my first competition in Targhee, I was like crying at the top of the venue because I was too scared. My goggles were fogged up and I was just like, I wasn't feeling it. And I went anyway and I ended up like tomahawking off of a cliff and it was just like, It was no good. And then after that, I really like made a commitment to myself to try to like figure out my mental game and how to, compartmentalize things and like recognize fear and then work through it and be able to focus. And I think the success that I saw as a junior, I largely attribute to like the work that I put into dialing in my mental game.
It's impressive that you're that like self-aware at that age.
I wasn't right. Like I had great people around me that
In
helped.
retrospect, now that you're looking back on it, you can say that's what was going on.
Yeah.
You can explain a little more eloquently.
But man, like I had people like helping me through that process too, right? Like, Trevor Tanon, my coach in high school, played a huge role in that. Barrett Steinmetz was one of my coaches at the time, and he like spent a lot of time working on like breathing exercises and whatnot with me to like help center me. And I was young, dude. I was like 13 or something when he was really working on that with me. So yeah, I think that like my relationship to risk has changed over time. And then I had those 2 seasons in college where I crashed a lot, had season-ending injuries back-to-back years, and I think that my relationship to risk kind of went the wrong way.
Yeah.
Where I was like able to like recognize fear, block it out, and do stuff anyways. And I think after that was like, damn, like if I'm gonna keep doing this, I need to learn how to like recognize like the emotions that I feel and listen to them and make decisions accordingly. So I think like the seasons that I wasn't competing, I really focused on that, and I would stand on top of things until I would feel scared, and then like consciously choose to walk away even when I wanted to ski it.
Right.
And that was like, to me, like the single most important learning curve of my ski career was like reconnecting with fear and not just blocking it out. Because I think that over time, I've really learned that like the way to ski sustainably is to make good choices, and you have to be in touch with yourself and in touch with the mountain in order to make those good choices.
And basically just kind of suppress the ego for wanting to do something or see
Totally.
something, right? And I think it's maybe like it helps, I don't know if you agree, but it maybe helps that you had that little bit of failure, right? In order to get to that successful point of not even succeeding in winning things, but like succeeding in being able to understand those feelings and those like hesitations, and like when your body or your mind are like something's going on, and for you to be able to recognize that, you kind of have to get to that point where you fail
in order to kind of figure some things out, I guess.
For sure. And I think more than anything that brought me closer to like what I love about skiing and how I can do it in a way that's true to myself. I think that when I, in the past, have chosen to like push through fear, it's usually been about trying to do something that would maybe not necessarily bring external validation, but doing something that like I thought would be cool rather than doing something that I wanted to do, if that makes sense. Like it's a fine line. It's hard to distinguish that. And I'm not going to pretend like
you got the GoPro on your helmet, and that's an influence too,
dude,
right?
Actually though,
one of the biggest peer pressure fucking sources in the industry is that GoPro on your head, man.
Totally. Well, in those 2 years where I was getting hurt, I always had a GoPro on, and I was like, cool, like I'm not wearing this thing anymore. And it was funny. Justin, he directed the movie for Matchstick last year. He kind of got me in the fold, and he was like, I was so bad with my GoPro for the first shoot. We did a trip up to Great Bear, up in northern BC. And I was so bad about wearing my GoPro, and I had to like retrain myself how to use a GoPro again because, like you said, that was like part of it for me. I had to like, just disconnect from the ego a little bit and try to figure that out.
Focus more. All right, so you're on the tour.
Refocus.
No, that's how it works, man. This like you see all the questions I have written down. Yeah, there are none. So you're on the tour. You obviously went through 3 events. You had a couple like spectacular
moments,
future social media clips, which are being pumped by the Freeride World Tour. You know what I mean? So you didn't make the cut.
Nope.
And then you did go on the Challenger Tour. And you came to Whistler. I announced that one, the Challenger Tour, and you had a great run. And at the bottom, you just fucking decided to just screw around on some nothing thing. And I was watching, I'm like, no, don't do it. Oh, and you just did like what did you do off that little bottom bump?
Dude, I did a 180.
A little 180 into like garbage, like soft, weird, like grabby snow.
Yeah.
And you fell. And I was like, oh, dude, because I wanted you to get back on the tour. I wanted you to get back on. But that was my like projection and my desire because I like watching you ski, right?
Thanks, man.
Working involved in the tour, but you were telling me that you didn't really mind.
No.
So,
I mean,
and I'm trying to tie this in because you just talked about how you wanted to get on the tour and that was your super goal. And then you were kind of okay with it for a while and you just wanted to do like a last hurrah.
Yeah.
Well, was getting on the tour just kind of like an extra chapter to the last hurrah? And then you're like, all right, I made it. Now I'm cut. And if I get it back on again, sure, fine. But if not, that's fine too.
Yeah, and I want to be careful about how I contextualize this because I have so much love and respect for the whole team at the Freeride World Tour and like all my homies who do it.
It's nothing to do.
No, totally.
Yeah, nothing to do with them. It's just your own personal perception of
definitely.
What's your wants and needs, right?
Yeah,
like, what
exactly.
am I doing with my life?
And so when I qualified initially, I like wasn't sure if I was actually going to go do it because for me that season that I qualified was never even about qualifying. I was like trying to go visit my friends in all the places that I hadn't been to in a while because I was just nose to the grindstone in college. And it was just about, just trying to enjoy myself and reconnect with the sport that I love. So when I qualified, like I thought about it for a bit. It was by no means a sure thing that I was going to actually go.
It's like Trump winning the election and be like, oh shit,
I got to do this now.
I'm going to be the president. Oh no.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think like, I don't know, for me, like as long as what I'm doing feels like true to myself, then I'm happy to be doing it. And there's like no reason to not try and go see it. And like, a lot of the people that I grew up skiing with and so many people that I love and look up to were on the tour that year. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no to this opportunity. Like, this is incredible.
Who are your heroes on the tour at that point?
Like the year that I qualified?
Yeah. Who are your go-tos? Who are the ones that you're like, that's
my heroes are my friends, man.
They are now, but you can still tell them that.
I was friends with them before though. Like, I like grew up skiing with A-Paul, Ross and I, like are homies, and we had an awesome rivalry since we were like 12 years old, going back and
So they must have been amped that you're on.
Yeah, dude, it was sweet. It was super fun. And like, like I said, like grew up with Lily and like got to know Leaf really well in the qualies and like.
That's another guy I'm really bummed. Like, both of you guys, I was so bummed.
If we're talking heroes that I didn't know ahead of time, I think like Elizabeth Gerritsen is somebody that I think is super cool. Like her skiing is next level. And I think like she's such a well-rounded person. And I think that she, I don't know, is leading the sport in a really cool way and a very thoughtful, silent way as well.
Yeah,
so I like, I think like her, her thoughtfulness and intelligence
almost
is cool.
reluctantly. You know what I mean? Like she puts in the effort and she does, like you said, thoughtful and silent, I think is a good way of putting it. Some people could see it as potentially reluctant because I know she isn't one for the spotlight.
Totally. She's just humble and she's genuine and she's, getting a law degree at the same time. Man, like I think she's living her life in a really cool, authentic way. So yeah, she's somebody that I hadn't ever met before.
Right.
I think like most of the people on tour that I was excited to hang out with, like I was already homies with, and it was just a great reason to go travel Europe with my friends. And I didn't know the Euro contingent quite as well. And Elizabeth is somebody I've definitely looked up to for years, and it was cool to get to meet her.
Sweet. So you get on, and then you're like, we go to the challenge. You get the Challenger Tour. You do the Whistler event, and don't quite make it. But it seems to me like we had this chat the other day when I was chatting to you on the phone, and you seemed to be at peace with it. You're like, I'm cool with it.
Well, yeah. So that Whistler event was like on the heels of like a 2-week shoot that I had with Matchstick at home.
So you got off the tour and you're like already into filming.
Yeah, I just like, it was a super, I again, like so many things just fell my way last winter. I got super lucky and I had the right people in my corner. So
yeah. It's one of those things too, where it's like choose your own adventure books.
Totally.
Right. If you had made the tour, well, great. I'm going to continue on doing tour stuff and this is going to be awesome. But, I didn't make it. But, look, there's this great filming opportunity lined up with one of my partners for the feature-length film they're putting out this year. Okay, I'm going to go do that now.
Totally. Well, and like, I just feel so privileged to have had those opportunities and to have that sort of opportunity in front of me. I don't know. But yeah, I was like seen with Dennis Renaulter and Mark Abma and with Brandon Skinner and Ben Cole and Dustin Lindgren, and then skiing with Dennis Renaulter and Mark Abma, just like people that I look up to a ton. And we just got hammered with snow for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
We were crashing at my parents' place. Like, it was just a dream come true. And that comp at Whistler was just directly after that. Like, I literally finished the last day of filming.
Yeah. Jed ended up crashing on my couch, and the same thing. He's like, I don't know if I want to come up because it's just been so good here.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the number one rule? You don't leave good snow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I jetted up, was there for the comp, and just like things weren't feeling right, and I wasn't feeling super inspired by the venue and the concept of like skiing super hard and flat light, because the entirety of the time that we were inspecting, it was flat light, and I was just like, this just isn't feeling quite right. And I think that what I had experienced over the course of that filming trip was like, I was skiing in a way that was super authentic and true to myself, and I wasn't seeing opportunities to do that on this comp venue.
Right.
And I like eventually settled on a line that I was excited about, but then I was like trying to wrap my head around it. I'm like, well, like what I see is like this sick double stage at the bottom. I want to do a 180 at the bottom. There was a sweet jump in the middle. And to contextualize a little bit, I backslapped super hard threading that middle thing.
Yeah, you went huge. Though.
Yeah. So like at that point, I kind of felt like my run was a throwaway anyway. Like you have any bubble in these events and you're kind of out. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know. I just like, if I'm going to ski, I want to do it in a way that's true to myself. And, doing 180s and comp runs just is not very practical. But if that's what I want to do, then I'm going to do it. So I was just kind of feeling it out, trying to see what made sense.
Fair enough.
And,
it was like, I don't really have anything to lose.
Exactly. And I think that was part of it. And I think that I didn't have anything to lose for a lot of reasons. I think it's easy to say that because I have these opportunities lined up with Matchstick, and that is totally true. But then it's also like,
you crushed it this year.
Thanks, man.
Matchstick segment and your unified segment. That's the head film.
Yeah.
Got you a nomination for Breakout Skier of the Year, man.
I know. I feel super lucky. It was really cool. But yeah, like I didn't have anything to lose for a number of reasons. But like even without those segments, it's like if you're going to do something for any reason besides just doing it for yourself, like that just doesn't feel legit to me. Like if I'm going to be skiing in front of other people, like I want to do it in a way that feels true to me. So like I think that was a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you got to the highest. The highs.
Well, I don't know. I got cut halfway through. I haven't seen the Beck yet.
It still counts, man. Well, no one skied the Beck last year.
True.
So you didn't really miss out on it. But you got there, right? And now you're able to kind of play your cards how you want to play them, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I've got these opportunities. And to be honest with you, and we were talking about this the other day, I think personally you're more suited as like a film skier. Honestly.
I kind of agree with that. And I don't know, part of it, like I competed for so long, and it's like I played that more like formulaic version of it where it's like, you look at the venue, you identify the high scoring line. Usually you like toss a back or three in there somewhere. And it's like, I played that game for a long time, and now it's pretty fun to enter a new arena and kind of have the next set of challenges in front of me. And it was a season full of learning and trying new stuff. And like, that's just kind of that's what I want to do. Is I want to challenge myself and progress in more ways than just my skiing,
And now it's culminating, that whole season is culminating kind of now.
Yeah.
Through the festival or through the festival circuit or the tour the film tour circuit.
Yeah.
And then we got the I3 Awards tomorrow. And then you have maybe a couple more events, and that's kind of wrapping things up for last season.
Totally.
And then you got to move into next season with all of this momentum behind you. Do you have a bunch of plans? Do you have like things lined up? Like, are you just fired up and like ready to go more than ever?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm trying to just kind of keep the ball rolling and do more of the same as much as possible. I'll have a place in Truckee throughout the winter, so I'll hopefully be doing a lot of skiing at home. And I think a big goal that I have for
Got
the
a good
season
couch down there? Or?
Got what?
You got a good couch down there? Or?
Yeah, man, come through.
Sweet. I'm down.
But yeah, man, I just want to keep like learning new things and pushing myself, trying new tricks. And it sounds like I'll be able to do some more filming this winter as well. So I've kind of been, in dialogue with Matchstick, obviously.
I think so, man. You had like 2 great segments, and you're nominated for an award for your skiing. I think you're going to be good. I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah. But so hopefully HEAD does something again too. It was really fun to work with them. And yeah, hopefully I can just do some more filming. And I think more than anything though, I just want to like stay connected to the reasons that I love skiing and try to push myself and grow along the way.
I dig it. So you're earlier you mentioned that you had a river trip. You're on the river before you came out here. So what are you guiding? Yeah,
totally. So I guide throughout the summer. I work on a river just outside of Yosemite on the Tuolumne. Oh. Yeah, I'm a raft guide during the summer, and that's kind of it's sweet. It's a perfect balance.
It's not the same river as Apal?
No, it's not.
No,
we bond over that.
I was gonna say, did you connect over that?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we work on different rivers.
Yeah. So what is it? Have you been doing it for a long time, or?
Yeah, totally. Both my parents were guides, so I kind of grew up in that world. We were doing just private trips all the time in the summer, and then I transitioned to guiding commercially, guiding professionally, and I guess I was like 19 years old, but I started like training, working with Arda, the company that I work for.
And it's just basically like river guiding. Are you like the canoe guy or the kayak dude?
I do a lot of whitewater kayaking too, but yeah, I'm in rafts with people for the most part, and I manage our operation on the Tuolumne now, so I'm kind of doing behind the scenes stuff a lot too.
So when does that start? Like you have to like shut down your winter to kind of, since you're running the show, you got to get to work and like get. Are you like hiring guides? Are you making sure equipment's going on? Like what's your role?
Yeah, no, all the above. Like just day-to-day logistics, big picture logistics. I'm super well supported by like bigger higher management as well.
You're the operations guy.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it does cut my season short a little bit. My first trip this past season was like May 7th. Year before that was like the day after I qualified for the World Tour. I drove out and started working. So it's been very much like button up against ski season. So
what's your season like? How long does it run?
Wrap up on Labor Day, so the first weekend of September.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's a long season. Like it's very much a dual identity.
Does it help you with like ski shape?
I would say no, but
your shoulders and arms are strong.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of what I like about it is that like all winter I just like hammer my legs and lower back, and then in the summer I kind of like counterbalance and do a bunch of upper body stuff.
Right.
And more than anything though, it's really fun to just like be in a super social position like that, and just like showing strangers the places that I love most is such a privilege and a pleasure.
Yeah, I can tell you'd fit in that role because you're a good talker, right? Like I was a tour guide for many years, from everything from like hiking tours to canoe tours to like driving like Army Hummers off road like for people.
Oh no way!
And it's just that gift of the gab, being like, "Jay, man, check this out, do this, whatever." I could see you perfectly fit in that role.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of like cool team building too, right? Like you get a group of strangers in your raft at the beginning of the day. And the river that we run is like class 4, so it's like technical, difficult whitewater, and you have to like bring people together and like make it downstream safely, and like that whole task is pretty fun.
Do you think doing that for so long and then being responsible for other people ties into what we were talking about before with like your risk assessment?
For sure. I think that it's like
a lot of parallels.
Yeah, a ton of parallels. I think that it's just a matter of whether I'm like taking care of myself when I'm skiing or like taking care of other people when I'm rafting. Obviously, taking care of myself rafting as well.
Are you more conservative when you're just taking care of yourself, or are you a little more loose, or is it fairly similar?
Oh, I'm looser when it's just myself.
Yeah, right.
Like, we're not allowed to like let people do flips and stuff when we're running rafting trips. But...
I hope not. Not on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the river like? What river is it?
It's super fun. It's called the Tuolumne River. So it's basically like
Say it slowly.
Tuolumne. Yeah. So it's like outflow from Yosemite Valley. Mm-hmm. And we put in right at this inflection point where the geology changes from igneous to metamorphic. Mm-hmm. So we get like a lot of like cool granite boulders at the top of it. And then it levels out a little bit. It's pretty gorged in. And it's just beautiful, like chert, bedrock, boulder gardens. It's really technical, lower volume. So it's a lot of like tight moves, a lot of precision. And I would say like the hazards are more about like getting stuck or like going down, into chunky drops rather than, getting flipped by a big wave or something. So it's a lot of like methodical, precise whitewater.
Right. Have you had any big incidents?
I mean, yeah, there's always stuff going on.
Yeah,
I got a boat super stuck at the end of the season, broken oar. And then
do you ever do any rafting here?
I haven't. I really want to come kayak here though.
Up on the Ilaho, the Checamus is great for kayaking too.
Yeah.
Like just right in town. There's a lot of really good. So so same sort of thing. A bunch of my friends were like raft guides here.
Sweet.
Same thing. Rafting in the winter, ski patrol in the winter, rafting in the summertime, and a bunch of big tours. So we'd get to go out every once in a while. I have some friends that have their own boats, so we'd go and do like we'd get 20 or 30 of those guys, and then there'd be like 5 or 6 boats. Half of them were owned by like the raft guides.
Yeah,
and we just do our own trip, find a big sandbar in the middle of the river, cut down some dead wood and create a giant bonfire at the sandbar in the middle and just like hang out and party and stuff. And it was always fun just to do not a guided tour, right? Like when someone like myself, the only time I'm going rafting is if I'm paying for a tour most of the time for most people.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things you really got
to know what's going on a little bit.
You really got to be invested in doing that if you're going to be doing your own trips.
Yeah, there are a lot of barriers to entry for sure.
So many barriers. So it was really awesome to be able to do these trips with like your buds at our own pace.
Yeah.
It's so rad. Do you do a lot of your own missions?
Not so much, man. I didn't have like a single day off this summer, so I was pretty locked in.
Have you ever done Grand Canyon?
Yeah, totally. I've done 3 trips out there.
I've missed the cut, so I'll let you continue. There's the raff or the lottery that you have to put in for, right? So I always put in for like October. And then my buddy Noah, who's got his boat, they've been a couple times, and a couple other friends have been a couple times, and like someone always like a couple steps away. It's like what is it like that Kevin Bacon thing? It's like 7 stages, like
totally, yeah. Everybody's like 4 degrees of separation.
Yeah, 6 degrees, Kevin Bacon, right? But it's always like that 1 degree too far. Where I know the guy, but I just miss out on the trip.
Well, yeah, and being involved in skiing, it all puts you like right on the cusp because there's so many people that do both.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like every year I still put in for it. So now I know I got another guy that can be like, all right, Xander, you're on it. Can we use one of your company's boats?
Exactly. Phew, that's the hard part. It's like gear. Yeah, using people's because the desert's hard on gear. It's hot and gritty and sandy.
But it's like a month-long trip, isn't it?
Yeah, so
it can be.
Yeah, the one that I just did, we just hiked in halfway and did 10 days. The one before that was 21 days, so it's basically a full month on the river.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
Oh, it's incredible. It's super cool. Like there are very few ways in life that you can just like disconnect from everything and just like be with the set number of people for.
And also though, like I've done like 20+ day canoe trips.
Yeah.
And they're not like a 20-day rafting trip because rafting trips are like the car camping of like
totally.
The trip.
Oh my God, it's luxurious.
Because you can bring flats and flats and flats of drinks.
Yes.
You can bring like tables. You can bring a ping pong table if you wanted to. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so much shit you can bring because those rafts hold a lot of stuff.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Chainsaw. You could bring a DJ booth and like speakers and like
for sure
disco ball if you wanted to. And it really wouldn't be that much different.
Totally. Well, that's one of the reasons that I love guiding so much is it's like one of the most accessible ways to share the outdoors with people. I think that skiing has so many barriers to entry, and just the fact that it's uncomfortable is a really big one for people. Like the concept of spending time in cold environments is super intimidating, and rafting is like, like you can bring your full pillow, you can bring 3 changes of clothes if you want, like we will cook for you, and it's really, price is obviously something that gets in the way, but you can make people really comfy.
You get what you pay for, but you have the opportunity to get a lot on those trips, right?
Totally, yeah. And it's nice to just make people comfortable in those environments. I think that's pretty special.
So what do you do? Just day trips, or is it multi-day trips?
We do kind of all the above. So it's an 18-mile stretch, and we break it down into 1, 2, and 3-day trips, which is sweet because we get to, it's like the same stretch of river, same rapids, but then you just get to enjoy the canyon in different ways. So on the 1-day trips, it's just kind of like speed dating. Like you just like go rafting, look at the canyon walls, but that's about it. And then the longer the trip, like on the 2 and 3-day ones, we get to stop, go on these cool excursions up side canyons. There's like an old abandoned mine shaft that we go into and stuff. And like, you just get to see the canyon in a really different way.
Do you appreciate those ones? Do you like those ones better?
Ordinarily, yes. This past season, I don't need to go into it. It's a whole
bunch of jerk guests. They're not listening.
No, this past season was just logistically challenging. We like, yeah, I don't need to go into it. It's too much. But the logistics were tough on the multi-days this year for environmental reasons. There were just a lot of landslides during last winter. They're just California got hammered with rainfall.
So and all the snowfall and everything.
Yeah, our just access points to the river changed. So I liked the 1 days more because we had to haul less gear into the canyon.
Oh yeah, there you go. Do you have mules?
No, we had a truck, but it was a smaller truck than usual, and I had to drive it, and it was exposed and scary.
Do you think if you actually had a mule, you'd be able to get away with it?
Dude, we were talking about that. Like, and we had to walk our guests down in the river, so we started our trips with like 2-hour hikes at the beginning, and we were like going through all the other ways that you could start the trip off. One of them was mules would be pretty sick. We were also talking giant slip and slide, so you just like instead of hiking 3 miles, just like get in the boats and go.
Do you think you'd be able to get away with doing mules? Do you think that like our culture is maybe a bit too woke to allow a first world country like ours to actually utilize mules for something like that?
No,
like,
it would go. There are mule packing trips.
Do you know what I'm trying to say though?
Oh,
right?
I know what you're saying.
Like it's California.
Yeah, it would go. I think people would be into it. There's like, I think it would totally go.
I'd like to see that. I've always wanted to go on like a ski trip or something like Morocco or something like that, or one of those like spots in where you just strap, or like Peru, Ecuador, where you like go into the Andes and you strap a bunch of your gear onto a mule and you go hiking. And I've always wanted to do a trip like that. Yeah, and we could do something like that nearby. I'm in.
Oh my god, it seems super cool.
I bet you they could do something like that in here. Like Bushy and his partner. She runs like horseback tours out in the Squamish Valley. Nice. And I was like, I bet you they could like maybe do something like that. Just find a zone and like create a tourism like a tourism product out of it. Yeah, maybe.
Probably. I'm sure. It just opens up access. Not having to carry heavy stuff around helps. Right. Yeah. The novelty of mules adds a lot.
Yeah, and it would be cool too, like because it's so foreign. Yeah. Like. It literally is foreign. If you go somewhere and there's mules like hiking stuff, and you're usually in another country.
Yeah. You know well, that's what I was gonna say though. Like there are people who run mule packing tours just like 20 miles away from our operation.
For real?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, so it's a legit thing.
No, it's
you
a
could
thing.
Literally get one.
No,
of
like
their
it was
mules.
like actually something I was thinking about.
Oh, you should do it.
I know, it'd be dope.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. But ordinarily, yeah, totally. Like you definitely associate that with like expeditions in other countries.
Yeah, right. So is that kind of going to be? Do you foresee that as like? But because you've got it established, right? And this is kind of that time now. You finish your school, you're probably now going to settle into a pretty decent film career if you choose to keep doing it. You've got it set, right? You've kind of established your base. You got MSP. You're working with HEAD. Who knows what else comes up? Maybe you end up meeting the right person. You want to do your own project. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But totally. I think that's probably how your life's going to be now. Maybe for the next decade or so, is give her a push. You should see her snoring over there. Out. And then like. But you're going to be able to, you have it established, and now you have your routine, right? You're going to work your butt off. You're running the show. You do what you like, rafting. Yeah. And then boom, you get into the filming stuff. And you have that. And I think you're at a stage now where you can maybe have that comfortability of knowing, or the, I guess the safety, right? The consistency, the comfort of knowing I have this and this. My structure is set. And I can just let it run for the next couple of years. Just be comfortable with it. Yeah. And then allow you to do so much more with what you're doing for skiing and for work, right? Because it was like, specifically for the skiing, was, like, when you don't have to worry about making money or where your money's going to come from, and you're familiar with it, I got to be here this day. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. That section of your brain isn't fired up, and you can use that energy to kind of focus on what you're doing with your ski career. Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's really neat about that as well. And I hope you realize.
I feel incredibly lucky, like to have the opportunities in front of me that I do is so unique. And
also I'd like to change that. I'd say, think fortunate potential. I see it as fortune. Yeah. Because you've created that for yourself. You're fortunate because you have those opportunities, but you've taken it upon yourself. Yeah. Right. It's like not necessarily luck.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You got to be good to be lucky, and you got to be lucky to be good. But like, it's more fortunate to me, I think, because you've seems like you've kind of tailored your life in a way where you've kind of driven in that direction, and you've adapted well to kind of what direction you're going into. Thanks. You kind of see it, and you're like, oh, this is kind of how it's going to work. I'm kind of cool with this. All right, I'm going to buy in.
Yeah, I try to move intentionally for sure. That's a goal of mine.
There you go. And that's a better way of saying it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's easier said than done, right? Mm-hmm. But that's my goal.
And now is that your intention? So it sounds like the last every 2 or 3 years, it's still been kind of like, this is happening now, this is happening now, this is happening now, this is happening.
Yeah, that's a
right
fair
over
assessment.
our last conversation.
No, totally.
Every
You're right
couple
about
of years,
that.
something's changed, right? Something's been new. But now it seems like you're going to be able to find that groove.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I like
Maybe ride it out until it turns into a rut.
hoping to like change course before I get rutted out.
I think you've already proved to me that you know how to do that. You can see it coming, right?
I try. Yeah, no, I'm excited about that, right? Like I feel already like I have a lot of trust and support from the brands that I work with, the filmers that I've had the opportunity to collaborate with, and now like with other athletes as well. So yeah, I do hope that I can build something here and make something of it. Like I think the main thing for me is like, yeah, it's good to be comfortable, but I want to stay inspired as well. And I don't want it to just feel like a job or a routine in too much of a way, right? Like those of us who get to be paid to go skiing is such a privilege, and I want to like savor that and appreciate that and try to do something with it. And Drew Peterson is somebody that I've talked to a lot about this over the years, well before getting paid for skiing was even on the horizon for me,
Right.
So yeah, again, just kind of in the vein of like moving intentionally, I want to make sure that how I'm choosing to use my resources and spend my time is worthwhile, and while also not holding myself to too high of a standard to the point where I don't want to do anything, But yeah, like I feel super happy to have space here, and I want to just make use of it.
Sweet. I love that. That's probably a good spot to leave it.
Sweet.
So this is only the first episode. We're gonna talk
So
again,
long.
and I'm looking forward to like a couple of years down the road and seeing where things are with you, my man.
Love it. Thanks, Mark.
Hey, thanks, dude, and good
Cheers.
luck for you. Quick shout out. How do people find you?
Xander Fire on Instagram. That's probably the main spot. I do have a YouTube channel. Haven't done much with it. If you want to watch my videos from high school, though, that's where you go.
To do it.
Also, I'm in Matchstick Productions movie Land of Giants this year, as well as Heads Unified. So both of those will be available online probably by the time this airs.
Still a little bummed you didn't come up for your own premiere on Thursday, man.
I know,
It was a good time.
but we've got one at home in Truckee in a few days.
I was good.
I'm
I was
so
just
psyched
putting you on
for.
the spot. Nice. That you saved that nicely. But we've actually got one that you can see. Yeah, see, you're already fitting in perfectly. You're gonna go far, my friend. Dude, thanks for coming. Now we'll get you back because you got to sign some posters in about 10 minutes.
Indeed, I'm ready.
All right, buddy.
Cheers. Thanks, Mark.
You've been listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers. This has been a Redmark Media production.